Let's do it. Big off season, as it always is for us. Let's be honest. First and foremost, we do have a couple of the player upgrades. I'd imagine this would be for our practice squatters. Indeed, it is. We will just auto upgrade these guys. I don't know how many of them will even be back. You know, I mean, they might get practice squatted again next year or just cut. We shall see. Staff moves really quickly. I want to see if any of those head coaching positions were filled. And the Bucks hire a guy named Brent Perkins. So I don't feel like too many licensed coaches are appearing at this stage. But we go to the re-sign phase. Obviously, we have a gigantic decision to make in terms of what happens next. There's a certain player whose fifth-year option was declined. $190 million to negotiate with. We start off at quarterback. Kurt Slater's willing to come back. Am I willing to give him $67 million? Guess. Am I willing to give him that much money? The answer is obviously no. We will be letting go of Kurt Slater. It hasn't worked. It unfortunately has not worked for Kurt. Again, he looked like he could have been absolutely insane based on his attributes. 10th overall pick in 2024. But he never got that dev pattern and could never take that big step forward. So, Kurt Slater is out. As is Jimmy Garoppolo as a veteran. Johnny Claiborne, not willing to spend that much money for who was just a filler running back this year, especially an $8 million signing bonus. Nah, we can get somebody else who's fine. It's a fifth-year option as well. We're going to decline that. Of course, we picked him up from the Patriots. Wideouts. Rondale Moore is willing to come back. The problem I have is I just don't see where he fits in. You know, we have Henry, we have Bush, and Bush Light. We have our tight end converted. Rondale, at best, is the fourth wide receiver on this team. Unless we were to give up on... You know, the one thing that could save Rondale Moore is if we saw regression from one of our two tight ends. That is the only way. And we did not. Rondale Moore is leaving. You know, we signed him to a contract extension a couple years ago. He's been a good player for us, but we're moving on. It is what it is. You know, if we're going to change up the philosophy with what's happening at wide receiver, it has to be for someone absolutely elite, whereas Rondale Moore is just good. Leverett can go. Brandon Cooks can go, obviously. Khalil Fant, we can let him go. I mean, you know, he would have been a practice squatter. I had to bring him in for depth for the playoffs. No way I'm signing him to that much money. I do think he was a good draft pick, but yeah, we're not going to be able to develop this guy, at least for that much money. There's no way. On the O-line, Pete was a depth option, so was Brendel. Obviously, right tackle, we will be picking up the fifth-year option for Bryson Cook. We are not going to look to lose him. Ogba can go. Dietrich Wise. Devon Hamilton's willing to come back, but I want to see who else is out there for a DT. He's not bad, but he's a stopgap. Kentrell Ellington has been fine. I am not willing to pay that much money for a player who has just been fine. Not going to happen. So we'll let go of Ellington. Kirk Cameron as well, who does want to come back. I'm not willing to pay him that much money. So a linebacker is going to be imperative in this offseason. At corner, Shaq Griffin can go. Marcus May can go. And the same thing, Jake Elliott, will let him go again and potentially bring him back. But yeah, Kurt Slater is gone. Rondale Moore, Devon Hamilton, and a couple of other guys that have either been around for a bit or were somewhat notable this year. I'm not even going to franchise tag Kurt Slater. He's not worth the money. He's an injury risk as well. So, and again, we probably would have traded him at the deadline, but he got hurt and wasn't healthy until the week after. So, to free agency we go. Here we go. $190 million to spend still. Who's out there as far as free agents are concerned, and what is the interest level? So at quarterback, Kurt Slater is the top dog. 5 teams are interested in him. And again, I can understand why. You know, you talk about the mobility, which is absolutely insane. He does have great throw power. Like, he can be a solid quarterback if he can stay healthy, but he can't. There's also Logan Armstrong, who was the Giants QB this year. Jordan Love, apparently we're listed as a playoff contender now, so more people are going to be interested. Jared Goff, Davis Mills, but yeah, we're not going to go for any of these guys. Again, I hate that Kurt wasn't the guy. You know, chat was like, hey, you got to go for this guy. I felt the same way, but I will throw chat under the bus. Kurt would have been amazing as a user quarterback. He's not a great sim quarterback. Running back wise, Breece Hall is the top option. Tyler Nash, 25 and an 83. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. I don't want to listen to it right now. Oh, God. Give me something to listen to here, Spotify, please. Please, please, please. 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 Yeah, we'll take it. Whatever. Nash isn't bad, but he'd be our second choice running back. But honestly, as a second choice running back, and it's true, he went to Arizona State. That would, honestly, that'd give us a great 1-2 punch at running back. And we have so much money to spend, it's like, why not? You know? Why not? I think we might go for Tyler Nash. Quarterback, I'm so mad that we're having to say goodbye to Kurt. But yeah, we'll be looking at Nash at running back. Fullback-wise, Pat Ricard, Alec Ingold, the usual suspects that we're not going to pay a ton of money to. Wideouts. So there are good options out there in Jerry Jeudy and Tremaine Brock, but they don't want to sign here. We'd have to send that guy so much goddamn money, and it's just 21 of the teams are in. We don't have a shot. So yeah, honestly, wide receiver, we're not going to be able to do much there, given the circumstances. We do have a good receiver core already, but yeah, that's a shame. We will let Rondale go. Like I said, he'd be our 4th choice wideout at best. You could argue, you know, bring back Rondale on a 1 year just to be like the backup. And honestly, you can argue the same thing with Slater to be like a 1 year backup. We'll see who else is out there. Tight end Michael Santos. We're already stocked at tight end. On the O-line, Taylor Decker. We don't need Cam Robinson. Left guard is Joe Tooney. We don't need anybody there. Top center, David Andrews. Top right guard, Keon Garrison. I mean, it's not a great fit, and honestly, we don't need him. And then right tackle, Taylor Moton as well. We don't need. D-line, Miles Murphy. He's not bad, but we already have someone of a similar overall and a little bit younger. DT, Vita Vea. There is Devon Hamilton. Tart's also there. We could look at bringing back Hamilton for the year. On the other side, Trey Hendrickson would be too expensive. He's not better than who we already have anyway. Linebacker, Luvu's there. Of course, Ellington, who I wasn't willing to pay as much as he wanted. But a 1 year return deal might not be the worst. Middle linebacker, Devin White, Ken Murray. Murray had a really good season. He's not super interested in us. And then Sebastian Harris, 25 star. Problem is we do have a good middle linebacker and right side edge. Honestly, instead of Ellington, we could look at Sebastian Harris. But he also has no interest in us whatsoever. So never mind, I lied. At corner, oof. I mean, that is certainly tempting. Is it overkill for that particular position? Yes, but it is certainly tempting. Harris has no offers, though. That's fair, but still the overpay. We'll keep an eye on it. And Hall's out there too. At safety, Kirby Joseph, not an improvement on who we already have. And on the other side is Tyrone Rowe. Solid, but again, not an improvement on who we already have. Isaiah Simmons, by the way, is an 83. Shout out to Big Worm for the follow. Evan McPherson is a superstar? Hello. Really? Evan McPherson is a superstar level kicker. Interesting. Phil R., what's going on tonight? How are you? And punter Ryan, right? Okay. We can obviously only target 5 people at once. Tyler Nash is one of them. Tyler Nash is one of them. If I send him a neutral offer, puts us as number 1 over Green Bay, I could probably do a team-friendly deal. No, okay, it is going to have to be a middle offer for us to be the favorites, which is okay. It's a 2-year deal. Gives us a dual threat at running back. Looking at what else we absolutely need. We do need a defensive tackle. So Devon Hamilton, we will try to bring back for the year. Try to outduel Minnesota. If we can. Is this offline? It is online. I've had a couple of crashes, but nothing outrageous. Phil, I'm doing pretty good. We will go for Sebastian Harris to see if we can get this guy on a cheap deal. Given that he has no other offers, we probably shouldn't lowball him to that extent. But we'll try it. Actually, you know what? We'll just go neutral. Although it is a 3-year deal, the neutral option. We'll try to snipe him for as cheap as we can get. I'm gonna go after Alexander if I can. Where does the team-friendly deal put us? Probably nowhere near the top. Yeah, given that the Rams and the Seahawks are both in for him, I have no problem going overkill and bringing in an Alexander. That gives us the top offer. We'll see if we can land him as well. We can target one more option. If we were to bring back Kurt Slater,
this fucking grass.
That's way too much money for a backup, man. Thank you for the follow, by the way. That's an interesting name. Obviously, we can negotiate it ourselves. That's just way too much money. Kurt's gone. Kurt's gone. Rondale, if we were to bring you back, even a 2-year deal to be like our 4th option, that's not terrible. Again, to have a player the caliber of Rondale Moore as our 4th option. Who's our starter? Right now, we don't have one. There's only 21 teams interested there. There's only one other team interested in Jerry Jeudy. I just want to see where this would put us. We'd have to send the huge offer to try and land Jeudy. So we could go for Rondale. We could go for Ellington, or we could go for McPherson at kicker. Do we want to overspend on a 4th wideout just because we can? I mean, having that depth at wide receiver, like if Rondale Moore is your 4th receiver, then holy hell. I mean, especially too because he can move up in case of injury. I think that's a worthwhile option, especially if we could get Rondale on a team-friendly deal. It's gonna be too expensive. I'm sorry, Rondale. We'll let you make the money you deserve elsewhere. So the other guy to look at then is really Evan McPherson, and I'm gonna try to snipe him here on a team-friendly deal to get a great kicker for dirt cheap. So we have our 5 main targets here. We're going to try to get Alexander to really just make our secondary absurd. Try to snipe McPherson and Harris for dirt cheap, and then Hamilton and Nash. Let's evaluate those offers. So here we go. Harris is the only one we didn't get an offer for. other teams are in for him now, that's just not going to happen based on having to overspend. So we are out on Harris. Our signings. We did land the other 4, though. Jair Alexander is here for 2 years. McPherson as well. Nash and Hamilton. Very, very good. And we still have $147 million in cap space. Our secondary is insane. Our running back depth. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. There was the Kentrell Ellington offer. He has gone. I'm not going to worry about Frankie Louvu. So we are done in free agency. We will obviously see where all the top names went by the end of it. But that worked out pretty damn well for us. I mean, having Alexander at corner is just overkill. Sweet, beautiful overkill. Our secondary is amazing. It's just, can we work out everything else that we have to worry about? I'm interested in the other options. Gooden I wasn't interested in because at 26, you might as well just take a UDFA wide receiver in that 4 spot and try to develop him. We better not allow a pass ever again. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of scouting to do here as well. So that's going to be a little bit time consuming. But that will help us decide just what the plan is for the 2028 draft. All right, so here we go. The final week. Free agency's been finalized. We can take a look at where everybody went. Thought I heard the dog bark. I don't necessarily want to wait for her to bark again. Slowly put my headset back on. Did the dog bark? I don't know if she did. Headset's back on. We get a trade offer for our new running back in Nash. No, thank you. Let's take a look at free agency. Let's take a look. Or did she just fart really loud? Fun fact, she did scare herself with a fart earlier today. So again, we landed the biggest fish in free agency at 97 overall corner in Alexander. I know he's 31. He's still insane, especially with that X factor. Jerry Jeudy goes to Dallas. And the X factor wideout that we had no shot for, Tremaine Brock, signs 4 years in Houston. We, of course, landed Evan McPherson. Hall on his way to Philadelphia. Tre'Davious White also on his way to Houston. What an offseason for Houston. Justin Tucker still the free agent. Jake Elliott goes to Kansas City. Been a good 3 years, Jake. Vita Vea to Buffalo. Tyrone Rowe to the Rams. So they still get somebody good. We ended up with Tyler Nash. Rondale Moore goes to Jacksonville for 3 years. Best of luck, Rondale. Best of luck. And here we go. Kurt Slater is now a Dolphin. They finally have their Tua replacement, and he is perhaps just as injury prone. Kurt Slater should be the new starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. He gets a big 4-year deal from Miami. I do wish him all the best. I really do. His time here was done. He got John Cena. His time was up. And a new quarterback's time is now. However, let's quickly look at the trade center here. It's the fastest way to look at dev patterns. We need to decide what's happening in this draft. Again, we have the 8th, the 20th, and then it drops off a bit compared to what we usually have. Josh Leach, despite finishing second for Offensive Rookie of the Year, is still normal dev. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. No doubt about it. Running back, of course, Walton and Nash are there. I'm more than fine with that scenario, even if Claiborne stays as like a third option. You know, we could look at trading Leach But Leach is young enough that if there's an injury and he steps in, he could break out. So Leach is going to stay. Claiborne probably won't have too much trade value. Henry is a superstar. Bush at star. Bryce Wells at star, which is good. So, I mean, we could look for a wide receiver as well. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's more of a secondary want. At tight end, Reed and Casey still look great, so nothing to worry about there. On the O-line, Greg Ringer. Williams, of course, still there. Farley has dropped to normal dev. We need a center. So Farley did not pan out. Williams still looking good. Honestly, a project defensive tackle would be nice. Forrest Harris still looks good. And we are going to need a linebacker. Malone is solid, but we desperately need linebackers. Desperately. Rashad Gary also drops to normal dev. Say hello to our Achilles heel. It's the linebacker core. That's our Achilles heel. At corner, though, Alexander, Callahan, and Jeff Okuda. Holy shit. The corner core is insane. Kader Kohu is the fourth option. Whew. You got Ridley at safety, Griffin. Like, if we can just fix the linebacker core, we're going to be looking amazing. Attitude adjuster on the 6 months, by the way. Thank you very much for that. So, now is the time, by the way, I can look at the other rookie quarterbacks from this past season to see what their dev patterns happen to be at the stage. Jordan Love now in Tampa. So those other quarterbacks. Johnson's a star. Might have gone superstar with us. The Jets took Barry, who was also still a star. The dog definitely just barked. So yeah, there wasn't, from the looks of it, the insane X factor that we could have taken in last year's draft. But the hope is that there's an insane X factor in this year's draft that we can take and develop. That is the hope.